What's up guys, Tyler Kirkwood here. I want to do an update video on semen retention. I'm on day 58. Thanks for clicking on my video and checking out my channel. I appreciate it. Subscribe, I would really appreciate that. So, today I received a compliment that I looked good and that was greatly appreciated. And it was kind of confirmation that I'm on the right track as far as what I'm doing. I wanted to give you guys a tip as far as avoiding relapse. And basically how this goes is you just imagine yourself kind of have an out-of-body experience, like being a fly on the wall and observing yourself, during relapse. You'll just get disgusted with the very idea and the thought. Or imagine someone walking in on you and it's just like you get so disgusted by. You really have to try to see yourself from a different point of view than your own, and kind of look in on yourself from almost like out of body experience. It's kind of hard to explain, but it works really well if you visualize this. You'll really be kind of disgusted with the mental image of yourself relapsing, and you won't want to engage in any relapses. So I would highly recommend that for the few people out there that have mentioned they've been having trouble with relapses. So onto the diet. I've still been doing the vitamin C, more protein from peanut butter. I've been incorporating more ramen noodles, the vegan soy sauce flavor, basically because I've seen Cali Muscles videos, and it reminds me of when I was locked up basically in prison, and there was a lot of really muscular guys, and a lot of them only ate ramen noodles or peanut butter in addition to the ramen noodles. But ramen noodles is definitely a staple, and I feel like that's going to get me really muscular going forward. So I've been having about 4 a day. I know people out there say it's really bad for you because of the sodium, but really I'm like, I compare it to other things. Like I feel like it can't be nearly as bad as eating a bunch of animal products. So plus it's super inexpensive, and since I went to school for finance, I got a degree in finance. At some point in my life, I hope to actually utilize the finance degree and become successful from a monetary standpoint. So I think it's pretty neat how you can eat so cheap. It's ridiculous. Like you can eat for like $1. You can eat like 4 of those for under $1, which is just kind of amazing. Another thing about the wheat that I find interesting is if you research the gladiators in the Roman Empire, there was some like archaeology evidence where they dug up the remains, the bones of these gladiators, and somehow they figured out that the majority of their diet was grains, like wheat and beans. So I'm really starting to come to the conclusion that you can gain quite a bit of muscle just by consuming wheat and peanut butter, and that's kind of where I'm going with my diet. And I've noticed just crazy energy in the gym, man. I feel so freaking strong. It's just unbelievable. I just pump out the weights. All my lifts are going up. Like I did bench today, and I was just repping out 225 pretty easily. So I really hope to get some videos of me working out soon, because I'd like to eventually monetize my channel once I grow it and get it really big. But I don't think having like semen retention in the titles is going to be very good for monetization. I've seen a lot of other people that talk about similar things, and none of them really. Sorry, I got a text message. None of them really have many ads, so I was kind of curious about Gabe Dog. I actually sent Gabe Dog a comment, but he hasn't got back to me because he's got like 20,000 subscribers. So I was wondering why he doesn't run ads on his channel. And I also checked out Sexual Kung Fu, who talks a lot about semen retention. He's got a few ads on like a few of his channels, but the majority of them he does not. So I'm like, if I ever want to actually make any money on YouTube, I think I have to definitely go the route of filming workout videos and just getting super lean. So really there's no problems with any type of policies as far as YouTube goes. YouTube's been going through a lot of trouble recently because of all the negative publicity about certain videos. I don't really want to get into it. I'm sure you've probably heard about it. But supposedly this is the second adpocalypse, so something to kind of keep in mind. I just feel like there's a lot of promise, a lot of opportunity going forward, because there's like 8 billion people in the world, right? And if you look at like the #1 YouTuber, PewDiePie, he's got 80 million, maybe 90 million. He's very close to 90 million subscribers. So that's the #1 YouTuber. The #1 YouTuber doesn't even have a tenth of a billion. Okay, and pretty soon the population of Earth is going to be close to 10 billion. So if my math is right, he doesn't even have like like if he gets to 100 million, that'll be 1/100th, I think, of 10 billion. could be 1/1000th. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to check the math on that. But anyway, the point is that there's like there's a, to me there's a significant amount of the population of the world that's still not even really actively using the internet. Like, I'm really fortunate that I live in the United States and I have access to the internet all day, every day. But there's a lot of people that don't. But that's going to change in the future. I mean, that has to change. I mean, everything's evolving and society is growing. So I kind of want to mention the stock market. I haven't been mentioning the stock market in some time, but it really seems to be reaching an inflection point where, I mean, if you look at the stock market over the past year, it really hasn't done anything. It's really at the exact same point it was a year ago. So to me, this is like, man, this is like finally the long-awaited correction that everybody's been talking about for some time. So the stock market's been going up. It's like tripled or quadrupled since the bottom in 2007, 2008. And there was a slight pullback, before the Christmas break, but it wasn't really that significant. I mean, it was significant. It was like 20%, but it was like, to me, I thought the whole thing would get cut in half again, and that didn't really happen. It just went down 20%. So it'll be really interesting to see what's going to happen in the coming months. I find it interesting that the Federal Reserve Chairman Powell is basically saying, a lot of the debt problems are really out of his control. So I don't know how all these debt problems are going to get solved. I live in Illinois, and there's a pretty huge debt problem with the pension system, and it's like no one really has any legitimate solutions to these problems, these massive debt problems. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this stuff is handled going forward. I would still like to see gold and silver just like shoot through the roof, like go up like 10 times. I mean, to me that would make sense. I mean, because the Federal Reserve has been adding so much money, so much monetary stimulus with the quantitative easing. I mean, that happened 3 or 4 years ago, but still, I mean, they've added so much money to the system. It's just unbelievable. You would think that eventually gold and silver would catch up to that, but it just doesn't happen, and it baffles me. I'm just like, I have no clue. I just don't understand how the Federal Reserve can infuse the economy with billions and billions of dollars, maybe even trillions, and gold and silver just stay flat. I mean, realistically, gold and silver should kind of like make up for some of the inflation that's caused by the monetary stimulus, but for some reason it's not. It's just baffling to me. So obviously I'm kind of discussing more than whatever's relevant in a semen retention video, but I kind of just wanted to do some updates on stuff that I find interesting. And really the point of this is like once you start practicing semen retention, you kind of broaden your horizons of your interests, and you become, in my opinion, a little more educated because you'll read more. I've noticed I'm more inclined to read than watch videos lately, and I would definitely attribute that to semen retention. I just feel like I'm wanting to assimilate a lot more information than I had. The motivation for a couple months ago. A couple months ago, the motivation was just to entertain myself and learn a little bit, and now like pretty much the majority of what I want to do is just learn and not really engage in entertainment whatsoever. So this video is getting very, very long. I appreciate you guys checking out my channel. Thanks.